Okay, so let's start with if statements. So an if statement basically looks like this. You have the word if, then you're going to use the test command to do some check. So let's say I want to check if 4 is equal to 4. And then you type then, and then finally you type fi. This indicates the ending of your if statement. So basically, anything here is going to execute if this test ends up being true. So let's say I echo the test was true. Okay, so the test was true. Perfect. Now let's actually do something else instead of our if statement. So let's say we look at this if statement again, and let's do something else. Let's say you want to compare not only if 4 is equal to 4, but you also want to compare if 5 is equal to 5. That's pretty simple to do. All you do if you want to have multiple tests is you have to write 2 ampersands, and that indicates an end. So what will happen is if this ends up being true, and whatever I write here ends up being true, we are going to execute the body of this if statement. So, for example, if I say 5-eq 5, we are going to check if this is true and if this is true. Now, here's the thing. If you want, you can put these pipe symbols, I think that's what they're called, pipe symbols. And what will happen here is if this is false, as long as this is true, this body will still execute. But for now, I'm just going to keep the and. So as you can see, the same thing got printed. Now, what we can do here is we can have an else statement. So let's say we have else. And in this else statement, we are going to echo nothing in the above was true. We execute this and we still get the true because everything here is true. So let's say we change this to something that's false. So we're going to say, is 7 equal to 4? That's not true. So because we have the ampersands here, this is an and statement. Therefore, if this breaks, the whole condition is no longer valid. So therefore, it's going to execute this else statement. Nothing in above was true. Okay. And finally, we are going to look at the elif. So if you want to do something else, if the first if ends up being false, you can kind of catch it with this elif. Elif, and then we can say if 1 eq 1. I know these are pretty they're not really interesting checks I'm doing, but this is just a beginner tutorial for scripting, so if you want to do something more complex on your own, that's perfectly valid as well. But yeah, so here we can just echo out the above was false, but this one is true. The above was false, but this one is true. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So I hope I can format this to look a little nicer. And I guess I can make this a little smaller. Okay, so to recap what we just did, we did a comparison. We said, is 7 equal to 4? And this ends up being false. Because this is false, we no longer have to check if this is true. And if you didn't catch this, you can't put multiple tests inside of one test command. This is the test command if you don't remember. You need to have a separate test command to have different checks in the if statement. So basically you compare, is 7 equal to 4, and whatever, this is false. Then it goes down to the elif compares if 1 is equal to 1, and because it is 1, it echoes out this one is true. But if everything above was false, then we would just default down to this else. Also, you can have multiple elifs. So I can have another elif. I can say if 2 is equal to 2, then echo 2 is equal to 2. And to make this invalid, I guess I can just put something here like, yeah. 2 is equal to 2. So basically you can have as many as you want. You need to have one if statement, then you can have as many as you want elifs, and finally the else is also optional. So if statement, elif, and then else. You don't need to put then for the else statement. You just have else and then just whatever you want to run here. And finally at the end you have the fi, which indicates that this is the end of your if statement. Yeah, that's pretty much it.